situation where the reputation builds on itself. I mean, I'm not really sure what to say when I'm addressed with that, because obviously I do play mechanically more often than not, but I just feel that's the better way to play, and I certainly do cheese. I cheese in plenty of tournaments. I don't know, the GSL, hell, I 6-pulled Jinro in an elimination game. I lost, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then when I played Genius, I essentially did a Roach all-in. There have been other games.
That's true. I guess people kind of dog on you a little bit more than you probably.
Well, it's good. I mean, it helps me. It's something I can take advantage of in tournament settings. No one's really going to expect it, even though it is something I do.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I just kind of think it's funny because I feel it's not entirely deserved.
Right.
But no, in general, I do prefer mechanical play just because I feel it is more reliable, and my goal is always to be the better player and to win because of that, not to just get lucky. So I feel that's the way to have the better player win.
Awesome. So back to the game, back to the task at hand here.
Yeah, you want to gas pretty quick. Yeah.
I was gonna go. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know why that was so late. I was all absorbed in the knowledge and the awesomeness that is idrA. So this is Temple. If there was ever a map that we could mute on, it would probably be this one. What do you think?
You can try it. It's still, even when they're capable of not dying to the rush, you're still stuck on 2 bases, and you are in a defensive posture. And kind of the whole point of mute is to take control of the game, force them to be defensive, and allow you to take control of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have enough spine crawlers to not die to the rush, it's not really accomplishing its purpose. So I still don't like it on here.
Okay.
It is better than anything else, but better than any other map.
It's probably going to be even worse considering he just has to walk out of his base and kill me if I do go mute him, which is going to be retarded. Yeah. I love close positions. They're so fair.
What? It's... Oh, you haven't dressed out yet.
You cheater.
Yeah.
It's okay. As long as it's to my benefit and not his.
Yep. Well, I've been messaging everything you've been doing.
God, I hate that shit.
And you still won.
I'm just excited to have you on the show. My heart broke a little bit the first time I asked you and you said no. And then I was like, Jeff, please talk to idrA for me.
Yeah, he put me in a headlock. I didn't know. You got a large inject.
Yep.
And your second queen.
We require more.
Oh, I thought that was a zealot at first, but it's just a probe. Alright, so cross map. Decisions.
It's actually not a huge difference. It just means you make a few more drones before you start up the roaches.
Alright. One thing that I've been trying to work into my play a lot more is drop and even some Nidus play just to harass. I feel like Nidus, obviously Nidus in the back of their base, like right after layer, is stupid. You know, but it is a very functional harassment tool. You know, you can Nidus right outside of a third, and then Nidus, you know, in their natural or something. Is that something you've played with at all? Is it something that you have any sort of opinion on?
Yeah, I tried drop play quite a bit. It feels like that is just supposed to be the way Zerg plays, because obviously you're not intended to beat a 200-200 army straight up.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be running them around the map and being aggressive in other ways. It's just, it never feels like it really does enough damage. It's just...
Is it because the maps are so small?
That is definitely a big part of it. Like, if they choose to go for a base race, their stronger army is on your doorstep pretty much as quickly as your army is in their base. So it's not a huge advantage for you, even with the mobility.
Well, even
and
in terms of, you know, hey, if they're in their third, but the map is so small that they can be back in their main in a couple seconds, you know?
Yeah, there's that too. So the map size, also warp in to some extent, that delay while their whole army comes back.
Yeah.
And the fact that it just takes a lot of time to kill anything that's incredibly important. It just never seems to do enough damage.
Yeah.
You want to get your second, third, gases.
I was just going to go up to 2, but you say 3, so I will do as
generally you'll get the second and third around the same time, because that allows you to get all those upgrades when the lair pops. Get both Overlord speed and Roach speed, possibly Pearl.
Alright,
You want to keep running your Lings in here to see his sentry count, just his army composition in general.
I feel like I've droned up pretty well, so I'm about ready to transition into roach production. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, since you saw a bunch of sentries there, that you always got to think that's a little bit dangerous, just because force fields are so strong. So you do want to make a number of roaches right now. You need to focus on creep spread a little bit too, using the tumors. Because having the creep out there makes it a million times easier to defend warp gate aggression, so that actually allows you to make more drones. Okay, here you want to get overlord speed as soon as you can, and just keep scouting, keep watching for an attack.
I'm kind of gas starved. Should I go up to 4, or is that not necessary?
Yeah, you'd want to be getting 4 around this time. Also, you should be considering expanding. Generally, you'd want to do it a little bit later, but you have so many minerals that you might as well, especially since you've already started making roaches.
Okay. I've kind of been skipping burrow. I'm going to go ahead and get it this game.
Burrow is as a response to if I think they're going to be doing warp gate pressure. So it's not something that you really have to think, I gotta get this.
Really? You don't feel like it's one of those must-have instrumental upgrades?
Not initially. I feel the roach speed and overlord speed are much more important, and at this point you're often gas starved.
Oh yeah, I don't
so
have overlord speed. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I definitely feel it's the lowest priority unless you think you're going to be warp gate all in.
Alright, so I'm gonna take this gold, I'm gonna poke out with these roaches a little bit.
Yeah. At this point the really dangerous warp gate timing has passed. So you should take your expansion and finish up drones on your main and natural, like saturate them. You want to be really, really careful poking with roaches like that.
Yeah, especially with
slow
roaches, huh?
Once speed finishes, it's okay. But if you go out with slow roaches to this point, you're just begging to be force fielded and die.
Have a repeat of game 1.
Yeah. So you want to move a couple more overlords into position around his perimeter. You kind of have control of the map for the time being, so you just want to use that to get in position. And now that speed finishes, you want to go in and scout him immediately, both the natural and the main.
Why do I have so much gas? I'm gonna get dropped. Why not?
Like, you added mineral drones a little bit late, so that's why.
Okay.
So you see the Robo Bay and no...
Yeah, I see no Colossus building structure.
Yeah, you see the Robo Facility and no Robo Bay.
Yeah.
So you probably want to get a Hydra Den at this point. Also, your drone saturation is a bit off. Again, you have way too many at your main. Your natural saturated, so you actually just want to transfer a bunch of them to your third base. And you have a bunch of minerals, and you're about to get a gold base online, so you want to add a 4th hatchery now. And from here, you just really focus on unit production until he takes his third.
Drones, and that'll be it for probably the rest of the game for me. Maybe not the rest of the game, but for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and then as soon as your Hydra Den pops, then you make a bunch of Hydras. And remember to keep scouting. You've got to see when he builds the Robo Bay and when he takes his third base.
Alright. So...
Also, you want...
Go ahead.
The only other thing you're likely to see at this point is if he adds a bunch of gateways, and that just means that he's going to attack you.
Yeah, he's taking his third right now. Is there a timing that I could hit him with?
He cleared the rocks. You have to keep scouting and make sure he actually takes the expansion.
Cool.
Also, you want to take the gases at your third base.
Am I overmaking Hydras?
No, he hasn't started Colossus yet. I'm not sure if you actually know that, but he hasn't started Colossus yet, so at this point making Hydras is good.
I hope they spawn soon. Now, I get in this position all the time. I get this Hydra ball, and I want to make a mid-game timing, and I don't know when to go, and it's either too late or it's too soon, and I just screw it up.
Well, once you have 10 to 12 Hydras out and he has this kind of composition, if he gets onto creep, then it's okay to engage him. Off creep, it's not. He will win this off creep. But yeah, it's just Hydras are so bad off creep, and you have to have Hydras versus these units that it kind of limits your aggressive possibilities. So here you still want to be scouting him. You should see that he has Colossus coming up and that he started his third Nexus. That's
Oh,
kind
that
of bad.
sucks. Well, now he knows what I'm doing.
Yeah. So taking your fourth base here is it's a good call. You don't have a Spire yet, I don't think. So
Come here,
what you
Colossus.
would have wanted to happen was you would have wanted to scout him going Colossus and put up the Spire a little bit ago.
So what do I do in the meantime? I'm just going to crank out roaches?
Yeah, you get your fourth base up, you might want to add another hatchery because you're about to max, which means you'll start to build up a bunch of resources, and you want to be able to remax quickly. And from here, it's just spreading creep. Since you do have drop, it's good to harass with drop. Drop some hydras on his cliff, just try and spread him out. You don't want to engage there.
Yeah, I
Bad
did
attack.
not want to do that. His army was supposed to be going back to his base. Why isn't he bad like the noobs I play on ladder?
But even then, you don't really want to send your hydras there just because they'll get caught off creep and die. You just want to keep poking with the roaches and maybe use the hydras in the drops. And here it feels like there's a bunch of downtime, but that's really because you didn't scout the Colossus quite in time, so your corruptors are a bit late. Here, normally you would have a bunch of corruptors, and then you could start being aggressive.
Can I fight? Can I fight? I want to fight. I don't think I can.
Well, you can try, but not really.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed.
He
right
would
now.
have just force fielded you, and it wouldn't have worked out very well. But honestly, versus this army without corruptors, you're never going to be able to fight, so it kind of comes down to that.
He's force fielding me out of my own natural. This is bullshit.
Yep.
Go, my two corruptors.
That'll do it. You're fine.
Oh, I'm so sad. And this happens to me all the time. I think this is a real, and this is a feeling I know a lot of Zerg players get. And what you're telling me is that the problem here is not my macro. Well, I'm sure my macro could be a lot better, but I don't think that that's necessarily the reason that we lost. I don't think the problem is the units that I made. I think it's the scouting. I mean, that's what you said. You said, hey,
Yeah.
you got to scout better. You're scouting like a noob.
Yep, if you had scouted, pretty much, you had to scout constantly. And if you had done that, you would have seen when he put down the Robo Bay, you would have seen that he was charging out the Colossus and the range upgrade. So you would have known he was committing to it, could have put it down your Spire immediately. And when he attacked there, you could have had your ground army plus 10 Corruptors, because
Right.
your macro wasn't perfect. So you could have had them in addition. And with that unit composition, those units, you could have won that battle. You could have held them off, especially on creep.
Just if I had the corruptors in the mix.
Yeah, the Corruptors make a huge difference. But it is a hard situation. I mean, that's a really, really strong way to play the way he did that.
Yeah.
And there's no easy way to beat it. But the biggest thing there was just constant scouting and reacting to his Colossus timing. You have to have Corruptors out, or you're going to die once they have 4 of them.
Yeah, you know, and in our last game, you know, I put down a Spire, and you said, "Why the hell are you making a Spire? You fucking baddie." And and the reason was because I kind of just blindly get that Spire. I guess as a result of being bad at scouting. You know, and that was about the time in the game where I felt like I would need it if he were going Colossus. And I guess that's something that that I need to be better about.
Yeah, scouting it's just absolutely crucial. Just because you have to respond to what they're doing. If you have Roaches versus Immortals or Hydras versus Colossus, you're going to lose.
Awesome.
So there's really no way to...
Awesome.
But on the other hand, if he runs a Stalker Immortal army into a bunch of Hydras, or if he runs in and you have 10 Corruptors and he has 2 Colossus, you're going to win. So it's not all bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do you feel about playing against Jeff on Shakuris? That's a good big macro map.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sure, says the man. All right. So I will invite him, and you can join on him as soon as he gets in here. And this will probably be the last one we play, and then we'll just kind of take questions for about 20 minutes, and then we will call it a night, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Sounds good.
As soon as he joins, you can follow. If he joins.